Charles Oliveira says his plan is to beat Makachev this weekend, then defend the belt in January in Brazil versus Volkanovski, then drop down to 145 and beat Volkanovski there for that belt in Australia. The hardest part of this would probably be making 145, but I like where his head is at. These fantasies of grandeur may be indicative of high levels of confidence going into Saturday night's fight. Usman wants to rematch Edwards in London. That's a distinct possibility. He'll be in the UK, and London is a high probability city for this trilogy. Jiri Prochazka says he spent 3 days without food in a dark room to confront his demons, to train his mind. If Aspen Ladd did this, she would have made weight. Jiri probably tapped out all the demons, but wanted a rematch with them because he wasn't happy with his performance. Topuria targeted to fight Ige December 17th. Bryce wanted Topuria, but Topuria said he couldn't make weight. At least he's honest. Better than showing up 10 pounds over at the weigh-ins. And Dana White and the UFC must love Jake Matthews because he's been supporting their pay structure and speaking about how happy he is with it.
Just wanted to dive a bit deeper into my tweet regarding fighter pay. I've got 3 quick points that I want to go through. The first one being these articles that disclose fighter pay. I've just gone through a number of them and they are not even close. Not even close. The second point, the UFC throw fighters a number of endorsements throughout the year and they're quite substantial. I don't like to disclose my own pay, but in this instance I've received about $25,000 USD in the last 3 weeks alone from endorsements given to me by the UFC. The third point, you cannot compare UFC fighters to any other athlete. These other athletes in team sports have probably grinded away for 20 plus years, playing from young ages, going through a college process, through the drafting process to get where they are. I can take anyone who is naturally talented, pad their record, get them 4 or 5 wins in 12 months and get them a UFC contract, at the very least on the Contender Series. That does not mean that they should be getting paid $1 million contracts. It is not hard to get to the UFC. That is not my words. They are the words of UFC brass and matchmakers. It is not hard to get to the UFC. The hard work starts when you get to the UFC. So when you start looking at these fighters' pay, base nothing off their past fight record, judge it off how they've gone in the UFC. Because that's all that counts.